My brothers and sisters, the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. A man named John was sent from God. He came for testimony, to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to testify to the light. And this is the testimony of John. When the Jews from Jerusalem sent priests and Levites to him to ask him, "Who are you?" he admitted and did not deny it, but admitted, "I am not the Christ." So they asked him, "What are you then? Are you Elijah?" And he said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" He answered, "No." So they said to him, "Who are you, so that we can give an answer to those who sent us? What do you have to say for yourself?" He said, "I am the voice of the one crying out in the desert, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as Isaiah the prophet said." Some Pharisees were also sent. They asked him, "Why then do you baptize if you are not the Christ, or Elijah, or the prophet?" John answered them, "I baptize with water, but there is one among you whom you do not recognize, the one who is coming after me, whose sandal strap I am not worthy to untie." This happened in Bethany, across the Jordan, where John was baptizing. The Gospel of the Lord. The Gospel of John is filled with symbols and signs. And in just the first chapter, we hear him describe Jesus as the light. Jesus is with God at the beginning of creation. He is the light that comes into the darkness, and the darkness will never overcome it. We hear in today's gospel, in John's gospel, that God comes to John the Baptist and asks him to announce and testify to the fact that the light is coming into the world. We, as a church, are also rich with a tradition of signs and symbols, some of them that we've carried through for centuries and generations. The funny thing is about sometimes traditions and things that we do is we do them long enough, sometimes we kind of forget what they're all about or what the origins of what they fully mean. We just kind of remember this is something we've always done. We've done them as a child. Our parents did them. Our grandparents did them. And sometimes we have to take a step back and do a little research to find out, how did it come to be? What is the origins? Why do we do this? And one of those exact things are lights. Christmas. Why do we use Christmas lights? We go back to John's Gospel, and Jesus is the light coming into the world to be born. So we fill our house with lights as a way of celebrating the fact that the light of the world is coming on Christmas Day. And we fill that house with lights, and we also put it on a tree which is also symbolic in our faith because it is the wood from which the cross that Jesus died on. And so we put those lights on there to represent Jesus. And you know, we get kind of excited just like John the Baptist, and we just can't hold it all in. So we put lights on the outside of our house, and we just want to let people know that Jesus is coming. And our Christian neighbors see this, and they get caught up in the excitement, and they fill their house outside with lights. And soon the whole neighborhood is filled with lights. And those dark, black December nights are flashed with great light as the light symbolizing Jesus is coming into our life. And some people get really excited, and they put those lights on even in November and January and into February because they really want to let people know that Jesus is coming. Christmas, I think, is probably the time where we get so many of our symbols and our signs, and so everyone gets into it. In fact, even our retailers, they get ready for Christmas around Labor Day, and they get us all excited about it by putting it into our minds long before Advent. And it's wonderful. You know, we go into a store and we're reminded that Jesus is coming, and we must thank them for that. And then they have the big blowout, Black Friday. Let me explain Black Friday to you. Black Friday is like the second biggest holiday since Christmas. It may even overtake it in some people's minds. You see, it's like all of these Christians gather together and they go out and stand outside of locked retail facilities. And they'll stand for 2, 3, 4 hours in the rain and the cold and the snow, waiting to be able to celebrate the birth of Christ. And you know, these Christians, they are baptized to be the light of Christ on earth and to be Christ to others in his kindness and love and forgiveness. And so, you know, at the moment when that door opens, the first thing that happens is Jesus is trampled on and doesn't even make it in. But all of those people do. And they push and they shove and they claw and they swear and they get in there to grab the most discounted, perfect Christmas gift. But unfortunately, they forgot. You see, the perfect Christmas gift can't be purchased at Target or Macy's. It won't come from Santa. But it will come from God, because you see, God so loved us so much that he gave us his only begotten Son. His Son, what a gift. It doesn't need batteries. It doesn't need to be assembled. And it comes fully wrapped in swaddling clothes and presented to us, all of us. And all we have to do is open our arms and say yes. So it's important when we see these symbols that we remember to share them with each other as we turn on those lights and we place those lights on our tree, that we remember what they represent. And in doing so, that we also remind our family and our friends, and most important, pass that on to our younger generation so that it will continue for generations to be able to enjoy the reason that we celebrate and the things that we do as part of our traditions. It's kind of tough, you know, when you've had Black Friday, where do you go from there? But thankfully, the next day for us is Advent. And you know, it's funny because even with Black Friday, it's getting so large that we even have a vigil now on the Thursday night. So in case you don't want to get up early on Friday, you know, you have an alternative. But the thing is, thankfully the church the following day gives us John. And John kind of refocuses where we need to be. That we need to repent, replenish ourselves, and refocus on what the true meaning of Christmas is. And you know, it's going to take a lot of time to get us focused back to where we need to be. And so we have 4 weeks to do that. And so hopefully over the next week and a half or so, we will be able to enjoy the true meaning of what we are to celebrate. And when we do get done celebrating, and we take down those trees and we remove those lights, I'd like to invite you to keep your nativity set on display. It's not just for Christmas. It's a gift representing the symbol of the gift that we were given, Jesus, and our faith. And why not, like any great gift that you get, would you not want to display it in your house so that you can enjoy it and have the joys of it over and over again and share it with others when they come into your house? So I invite you to do that. And if you are one of those people that like to go out on Black Friday, next year, may I suggest that you pack a few more things with you? Why not pack a flashlight, a crucifix, kindness, love, and respect, so that when those doors open, and in that Black of Friday, you go through those doors, the possibility of a hope of light may pierce through that darkness and put a true meaning for the reason for the season.